So if you're anything like me, you're probably not a fan of having to use function keys to command your army. Reaching up to grab F1, 2, 3 or 4, let alone 5, 6, 7 or 8, can be pretty awkward. And as someone who studied martial arts and guitar playing for many years, I understand the importance of economy of motion when performing physical activities, which can be translated to using a mouse and keyboard, which means I'm always looking for ways to minimize unnecessary movement to make what I'm doing more efficient. This means I can achieve the maximum results with minimal effort because I'm not wasting anything, which allows me to be quicker and helps me think clearer. Which is what I'm trying to do when I rebind my keys in any game. So for Bannerlord, what I'm going to show you is the little system I've come up with for commanding my troops on the battlefield, whether that's in single player or in captain mode. I personally find it 59,000 times more efficient than using the goddamn function keys. So allow me to divulge my secrets into your dome. So here's what I bind my order keys to. These are probably F1, F2, F3, etc. for you. I've changed them to E, R, C, Q, G and V, all keys that are nearby when your hand is over WASD. F7, F8 and F9 are all the same because I don't really use those commands, to be honest. Now it's worth noting that I have my interact key as F, that's why I'm not using it as an order, and I also bind my bash or kick key to my mouse, which I recommend doing if you have the capability because I think it does make life a lot easier and also frees up a key for you to use for one of these orders. Now for me, I like to have F as my interact key in any game, so I always rebind that and I keep it as F. Some people might prefer E though, which you can do. You can swap what I have as E, you could change that to an F, and it'll probably work just as efficiently if you prefer using E to interact rather than F. But this is just a guideline of what I do. Feel free to tinker and mess around and change little bits that may be more suitable for you. So this puts my keys, as you can see on the left. E deals with the movement, R for facing, C for formations, Q to hold fire, G for dismount, V for delegating command, and F7 for transfer. Those last three I don't really use that often, but they're there if you need them. Now this means that if I want my unit to move position, all I need to press is EE. Nice and freaking easy. And if you want a slightly more advanced command, if I press E to choose my movement and then hold the left mouse button instead, that is hold the left mouse button and then drag, I can actually thin my unit out and make it one single large line, or turn it into a bulky little box. Both of those can have their uses, so that's nice to know. That's just with holding the left mouse button instead of pressing E the second time. And another thing to note, when you press EE to move to position, the command will disappear and you'll be back to controlling your character. But if you use E and then left mouse click, this will keep the flag up, the purple flag is still there, and I can keep issuing commands for my troops to move. So it's a good one if you want to keep moving an army up and keep issuing commands. You can press right click just to cancel. Now back to some basic commands. If I want my troops to follow me, which is a command you'll be using a lot, ER is all I have to press and then my troops are on me. Nice and quick, nice and easy, no reaching around fumbling for function keys. If I want my boys to charge, it's EC. Do be wary of the charge mechanic though, it seems to make them charge all over the place sometimes. They tend to charge towards the nearest unit, which in a big fight can be multiple units. So half of your unit may go left and the other half may go right, which probably isn't what you want. And those are the only movement keys I use. I don't really use advance, fall back or stop, but they are on nearby buttons if you want them. Now to some formations, beginning with the almighty shield wall, which is C and then R for me. So again, nice and simple, got that C on the thumb. I use this formation a lot, I pretty much run around in it all the time until I get into melee, and then I'll change back to the line formation with CE. So those are ones you're going to find yourself using a lot. And then you've got CC if you want the loose formation, good for avoiding those projectiles. If I want a circle, it's CQ. Again, Q, nice and easy, just above A, right next to your third finger, no effort at all. And those are really the only controls I often use. I don't really touch any of the other ones. Square sometimes maybe, but not too often. It's there on a nearby key if you want it though, just on G. You've got skein on V if you want to try that out. And then column and scatter, but who the hell uses those? But I tend to limit the amount of controls that I use because it just makes it easier on my brain that I don't have so much to think about and so much to manage. Complexity is the enemy of reliability and all that. And with the Q key managing fire at will, it makes it super easy to manage your ammo. If I want to manage which direction my boys are facing, it's R and then E, of course with moving the arrow in the direction that you want. And of course if you're struggling with how to use this command, as it is a little bit confusing at first, make sure you're looking at your unit so that you can see which way the arrow is going. If you're not looking near your unit, the arrow won't turn and you'll just be facing the direction that you're looking. So you have to be looking at the unit to make them turn properly. And if I want my boys to go back to facing the enemy, it's a tidy double R.
Will to enemy!
And that is pretty much it. I don't really use any other controls myself, not at the moment anyway. Maybe my little control system will evolve over time, we'll see how it goes. This works fantastic for captain mode and works great in single player too, although of course in single player you have to use the number keys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to manage your unit groups, because you might have cavalry as number 3, infantry as number 1, all that stuff. So you do have to factor that in, and it does make it slightly more complex and you do have to think a little bit more, but still a lot easier than using the function keys this way, I think. And this ultimately just allows you to go mad commanding your army, like so. So, do give this a go. I think it's much more efficient for your hand position and your movement, so you'll be able to do things a lot quicker and with less hassle. It will take some practice though. If you've never used this before and you've been used to using function keys, it's going to feel very, very awkward. But stick with it, get some practice, and you'll be okay. You can go into custom battles in single player, like I just did in the demonstration. Take about 30 men, give the enemy 1 man, and they'll leave you alone. And you can just mess around with the controls and try to get used to them and build the habit of using them quickly. It will take some practice, but I think you'll be better for it. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the future.